Hello guys, it's me, Ice. And before I start this video, I just want to say a few things. One, sorry I haven't recorded anything that's been well edited lately. I had to get rid of Premiere Pro so that I could go to college. It was one of the many things I had to cut out and restrict so that I could. So now that that's done, I can come back to editing videos and doing this again. I don't know for how long this will last, but we'll see how it goes. Two, I'm replacing Game of the Month with this project I've been working on while I had Premiere Pro gone. Even though it was gone, I had this project in my head of how I would get it done and how I would visualize it. So for the time being, I've been working on how I should put it together. I'm replacing Game of the Month mainly because of, well, I figured it was a weird way to say it for what I actually did. I didn't review new games, I just reviewed random games anytime. I should just name it what it is, but you know, it is what it is. So on to the video. Hello people, welcome to Game Garage, the show where I take a look at any random game, take a look at its mechanics, take a look at what it does, and see if there's anything that needs to be fixed. Now then, the game can be good or bad. However, the final part will always be what I think of the game and if you should try it. So without further ado, let's get started. Nostalgia can be a very, very powerful thing. Sometimes it can blind us to the truths before us of something that we hold dear to our hearts, whether it is because it made our childhood a lot better, whether it be we really liked the feeling that it gave us all the time we played it, or whether it be just for whatever personal reason you have for loving said thing. Digimon World 2 was that game for me. This game is honestly bad when I consider it by, of course, today's standards. Back in the time when it was released, it was probably at least a, not want to say mediocre, but maybe a game that didn't get enough spotlighting on it. Though it did have a lot of bad things going for it. And today, we'll be taking a look at some of those things. Let's start off with the tutorial. Now then, what the tutorial teaches you are these basic things. What a domain is, which is basically just a dungeon. How to get into fights with Digimon. You just walk up to them, or they walk up to you. I don't know, whichever you feel like. That there are elemental tiles in the game, and they have an effect on battle mechanics. Such as, if you stand on the blue oceany looking tile, you're probably going to get a lot stronger water and a lot weaker fire. But if you stand on the fiery red panel, well, you should be able to figure out what happens just by the last one. What your goal in a domain usually is. It devolves usually around get to the final floor, find the boss, beat the boss, get the hecky out of there. And the final thing that it'll teach you is how to spot the final domain floor. Believe me when I say it's really easy to tell. Now then, this tutorial, for every mechanic that it has in the game, it's not good, but it's not bad. It's between the lines of okay and mediocre. After completing the tutorial, you'll be prompted with a decision to join one of the three teams. Yeah, you know the thing for Pokemon Go? That's basically the thing here. You got the Gold Hawks, you got the Blue Falcons, and you got the Black Swords. Now then, the Gold Hawks, or as I like to call them, the Golden Boys, are basically normal mode for the game. They're very, golden, as you can say. But you get to start off with Agumon, and they are completely vaccine-based, meaning the Digimon you can start out catching are vaccine-based. The DNA Digivolutions don't allow for data types, they do allow virus type though. And on top of that, the final boss of the game will be changed based on whichever team you pick. So the Gold Hawks have their own special boss, so count that in too. And count all these things in for what team you choose to align yourself with. And then there are the Black Swords. These guys are kind of the emo edgelords of the group. You know, they're the guys who feel down on a rainy day, and honestly, if you want to play the game on easy mode, I suggest going with Black Swords. It's completely easy. Virus is one of the best types, mainly because of Kuwagamon and Okuamon. Its attack, it's ridiculous. It lowers the defense, and it keeps stacking and stacking and stacking until a poke can basically kill your opponent. Then there is data types. They got the Blue Falcons, and the Blue Falcons are the worst Sorry, I had to stop myself from a rant there. But anyway, the Blue Falcons is basically hard mode for the game. There aren't many data types you can catch early on in the game. They're weak to virus type and only strong to vaccine type, and most of the bosses are virus type. If you want to give yourself a hell of a time, go ahead, join the Blue Falcons. I don't care. You picked the wrong team, bucko. In this game, you also get two rivals, Brendan and Joy Joy. These two are a pair. Joy Joy is Brendan's best friend, and she's the more jollier of the group. She's the more happy of the group. She's honestly just a rival, mainly because she's Brendan's best friend. You have about the same amount of battles between the two of them. And she also has the same type of Coliseum battles with you and her. Also, I've had more trouble fighting Joy Joy personally than I did Brendan, because Brendan's a little bitch. Then you have Brendan, the Gary Oak, basically. He has a smug Gary Oak attitude. Talks like a smug Gary Oak. This boy is like, he's just edgy Gary Oak and a little bitch at that. I mean, seriously, sometimes I want to take a look at this boy and just go like, bring on! Thought! Ah! The way you traverse these domains is through a Digibeetle, which is kind of like a little tank that you get to control on your own. So, you have HP and EP for this little tank thing. Honestly, it's quite cute. I just want to poke it. But anyway, you have a certain amount of steps you can use, and that is your EP. These are steps you can use for the whole entire domain. If you run out of steps, you get sent back to base, and you have to pay a fine to have it repaired. If you're out of HP, you get sent back to base and have to pay a fine. You got it good. Alright, now then, you can also upgrade the Digibeetle so that it can have more steps, have certain equipment on it, such as a missile firing system, a bug zapping system, and a mine sweeping system, which I don't know why these aren't on the Digibeetle from the beginning, because these things are actually common threats. Like, oh my god, what are you guys thinking by not giving these people the important equipment from the beginning? Now then, let's take a look at the capture mechanics of the game. First off, capturing the Digimon is it's easier sounding than it is actually doing. First off, in order to quote-unquote even try to catch a Digimon, what you need to do is go to an item vendor that is selling certain catch items. Believe me, you'll be able to tell because they have a little item description of, you can give this to a Digimon as a gift. Now then, you'll just press square to read the Digimon's information, and then press X in order to send out a gift. You're basically bribing the Digimon to join your team. It's basically like a, hey, if you be my friend, you can have this from me kind of situation. I kind of find it hilarious when you just bribe over this like big, beefy, buff Digimon with a toy plane. I shit you not, there is a toy plane in this game that you can use as an item. What? What the fuck? With these items you'll be sending out the Digimon, you eventually get these little hearts above them. They range from really tiny to massive in size. These are what you are generally trying to aim for when you're catching a Digimon. However, depending on whether it's a rookie or a mega, you actually get a chance of capturing the Digimon. If it's a rookie, you have, I want to say, a 99.99999999999% chance. If it's a champion, you have more of a 70-ish chance, ultimate is a 50, and mega is like 25% chance. And I think the most annoying part about all of this capturing mechanic is the fact that even at max like friendship level, you only get a chance of capturing them. Now then, in the next part, it's entwined more with the battle sequence. You don't actually just catch the overworld sprite Digimon. You just have to, after they get the giant heart, interact with them into a battle. Then, for the Digimon you want, and I repeat, this is important, for the Digimon that you want, you have to kill it last. Then, after the battle's over, it will say, hey, this Digimon wants to join your team. Will you allow it? And another thing that can be annoying is that if you don't have a certain part early on, then you're limited to having only spaces in your Digibeetle. for capturing Digimon. And believe me, if you don't have this part, it becomes an annoyance because you'll have to backtrack if you find any Digimon that you want along the way, especially if you're exploring a new area. Let's talk about battling in this game. First off, the battles can be a combination of anywhere from a 1v1 to a 3v3. And yes, every combination in between them, as long as they hit a maximum of 3 on one side, that can happen. And along with that, the frame rate depends on how many Digimon are on the screen. It's not that bad at a 1v1, it's actually pretty decent. But once you get to a 3v3, it starts to take a little bit of a hit, and this is only with the rookies. However, once you get to like Ultimates or Megas, oh my god, does the frame rate take a little bit of a hit, and it can be quite obvious. Hell, sometimes even startup attack animations become just slowed down, or at least that's the case it is for my disc. And no, I am running this on a PS2, damn it. Now then, before we can even start off this fight, there are 3 choices we have. We have Give Order, Cannon, and Run Away. I wonder what that one does. Now then, when you give an order, you can give Digimon 2 different kinds of orders. You can give them a guard order or attack order. Guard order puts them into a guard state. Guards can reduce the damage and recharge MP, while also making sure your Digimon can't go into the knockdown animation, which only doesn't do much, it's just a really weird animation. Then, on top of that, there are attacks, and there are 4 different kind of attacks. There is regular attacks, which you just hit something with a fireball or something. I don't know. Whatever the attack is, you just use it. There are counterattacks which do not have priority over anything. They're actually the last move that gets used. Why? Because you're usually the one who wants to take the hit first. Unless everyone on both sides of the team have counterattacks, then it does come down to speed in the end. But goddamn, counterattacks are weird. Because you know what's more of a counterattack than counterattack? The moves that are known as interrupts. Now then, what these allow you to do is that if a enemy Digimon is going to make a move, you have the ability to interrupt it. And when you interrupt it, you basically go, "Not today, bitch!" to the Digimon's attack. And interrupts can also have different kinds of effect, like lowering the power of the attack, making it so the opponent has to go last even if your Digimon are countering. It's fun and can have some strategic uses for it. I suggest if you play this game and use any Digimon, make sure 3 out of 3 of your Digimon at least have 1 interrupt skill for something I'll be explaining. It's honestly quite more frustrating in the future here. Then you have assists, which these things are a can of worms in themselves. First off, you can heal your team, you can buff your team, you can debuff the enemy team. That's all you can do with assists. Anything else that's a damaging move, you have to do from one of the other 3 choices. Now then, guarding commands have priority over any kind of attacking commands. But as I mentioned earlier, there is one thing that out-prioritizes guard, and that is Cannon. Cannon allows your Digibeetle to fire items in the battle. You know what you can fire in battle? You can fire damaging things. You can fire debuffs. You can fire buffs. You can fire HP or MP items. You name it, the cannon can fire it. This really does have some strategic uses, and something I do got to applaud this game for, even though in the battles the frame rate can get terrible. Now then, if you've noticed so far, your Digimon below their levels have 3 boxes. These 3 boxes are the statuses you can be inflicted with: paralysis, poison, and confusion. Poison is not that bad. All it does is just tick away at your Digimon's health. It's not that bad. You'll sometimes die to it. It's like once in maybe 3 full moons maybe, but it's not that bad. Paralysis is a bit more annoying because it does stun and makes it so you kind of lose a turn. But again, it's not that bad. It can be fixed easily, and on top of that, it usually doesn't last too long. What does last long for however, is confusion. Oh, this is a fun status to talk about. First off, when a Digimon is inflicted with confusion, they will immediately be like, hey, screw you and your commands, I'ma do what I want. And they do really mean do what they want. They'll hit themselves with an attack. They'll hit their opponents with an attack. They'll hit their allies with an attack. They'll hit your grandmother that's all the way locked up in a house attacked. They're weird. I don't know how they can hit my grandmother though. The only attack that is kind of immune from the confusion status is interrupts, and I take it just as because of a coding thing, because maybe they realize, hey, you know, guys, confusion may be just a bit too powerful. We need some way to nerf it a little bit. I know, make interrupts attacks not affected by confusion. And if you want more of a practical standpoint, here's the thing. You're going into a stance and responding to an attack rather than having the Digimon attack themselves. You get what I'm saying here? That is why I say, when you build your team, make sure 3 out of 3 of your Digimon all have an interrupt attack, and we'll get to how you can customize them. Give me a minute. Now then, moving along, we have the main city that you will be in. This has many different parts to it. First off, there are the 3 main places that are going to be basically your team's command center. You'll go to these for items, Digivolution, and orders from the guard tamer, even to check some stuff out sometimes. Then there is the tamer clubs, where I guess it's where all the cool kids hang out. Then, in the middle, smack dab in the middle, there is the Coliseum. You go to this thing to rake up the tamer, and sometimes meet some interesting characters. Why, hello there, Leomon. How are you doing today without that shirt? I'm loving that mane of yours. Then the bottom one is the place where you are going to usually go to launch your Digibeetle. However, if you press into here, go up, just go to the left, you'll eventually find the Digibeetle factory. These guys can upgrade your Digibeetle, and you can buy parts, all the types of different missiles that I mentioned before, all the bug zappers, and all of that. They can give your Digibeetle new bodies. This is the only shop that can do that. Later on, you will have 2 different cities you can go to. This is the only place where you can permanently upgrade your Digimon Beetle's body. Now then, let's talk about where you go to Digivolve Digimon. There are quite a few different cities where you can go to Digivolve Digimon. There's the main city, there's this little dome that is not too far out of your city that you have to launch out of into the actual digital world to get to, and then there's a secondary city. But the important thing here to note is that if you go into your team base, it's the left door on the very, very left. If you go into the Digivice Dome, what's going to happen is that you just want to go left once you get into the second room. And if you go into the secondary city, just go to the left thing. I don't know why the Digivice thing is always located on the left. It just says, okay? So once you get into there, you're going to go talk to the man, or in this one's case, a centaur? Man, this game is weird. But once you start talking to them, you have a few different options. You have Digivolution. Your Digimon will always Digivolve at a 1 level. So if your Digimon is level 11 at a rookie state, it will go to Champion. If it's at a level 21, it will go to Ultimate, and to Mega at level 31. You get the point here? Now then, there is a second option, DNA Digivolution, which isn't as it sounds if you know the anime at all. Typically, DNA Digivolution is used in order to make a stronger Digimon. A Digimon that is usually a higher level than what you are fusing together. In this case, you're fusing 2 Digimon together to get usually a weaker one. And here's how the mechanics work. First off, you're going to take the Digimon's level on the left and the Digimon's level on the right. The left will be the base level for the new Digimon that you'll be making. The right, however, we're going to divide that by 5 and then add that to our base. That will be the level of the new Digimon. Now then, here's the other thing. If you use a champion and something, such as a Mega, you know what you're going to get? You're going to get a Rookie. They always go down with this kind of Digivolving for some odd reason. I don't even know why it's called DNA Digivolving. They should just change the name to even just Fusion, or what it really is, breeding. Because when you fuse two different types of Digimon together, you get new moves and you can customize certain Digimon. That way you can make Metal Greymon shoot out water geysers if you really want to. You can find a way to do that. Believe me, I've done it before. I hear you saying, Ice, this game doesn't sound too bad. It actually sounds quite amazing. Why don't I play? Hold your horses. I haven't gotten into why this game is bad yet. It's actually a combination of different things and some of its own mechanics working against it. Alright? So now then, first off, this is a mechanic that I haven't talked about before, but it has to do with how Digimon spawn in on a floor domain. You see, before you even load in, there will be a set number of Digimon spawned on the floor. Now then, this wouldn't be so bad if you could go back to another floor. Seriously, going back to another floor would make this game a lot better, because there wouldn't be needing to do so much backtracking and have so much time wasted. Hell, it'll probably even be able to speed up a speed run with all the non-backtracking you have to do to go to certain levels. And this can also be frustrating when you have to find a certain Digimon to capture, because certain Digimon only spawn between certain floors. And if you just so happen to pass that last floor, there ain't no going back, Sonny. You're just going to have to deal with it. Another mechanic this game has working against it is its EXP mechanic. The scaling for once you get up to higher levels can be ridiculous sometimes. Seriously. You can find walls that are less steep than these EXP mechanics. It doesn't help with all the backtracking that you have to do to get to specific floors. And on top of that, there are some Digimon that give out good EXP, but you have to hope and pray that they spawn on the right floor that you're on. Oh man. Just reliving the nightmare of having to go through different floors just to find this one Digimon so I can grind it for EXP. And yes, I realize I can go back and grind the other Digimon for EXP, but here's the thing. They aren't the good ones for EXP farming. They were just like, this did like a chunk of my EXP till my next level. Now I gotta go find the bigger chunks. It takes hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of grinding just so you can Digivolve any sort of Digimon. This may not sound like it's a bad thing, but it is. It takes so much backtracking in this JRPG in which grinding is usually very accessible and easy to do. This makes grinding a chore, which is already a mega chore, but at least in other JRPGs, grinding is less of a chore because of either random encounters, B, monsters will spawn, or C, easy access to go to another area and make certain Digimon respawn so you can get some better EXP. Like seriously, there were some of many things that could have been done to this game to make it a lot more enjoyable and, in my opinion, better. So how about we get into those things, shall we? First off, let's start with the tutorial. This one needs probably not the least amount of fixing, but a decent amount of fixing. First off, we start off with someone who has a higher grade Digibeetle. Seriously, this Digibeetle is the second to last Digibeetle plating you'll ever get in the game. So why doesn't it have the equipment required? I'm curious about that. Like seriously, they could, with this Digibeetle, they can teach us how missiles work, what type of missiles work on something and what type of missiles don't. They can teach us the bug mechanic and why we should be aware we step. Then they could also teach us about the mines and how we can remove them. And they can teach us of why we should be wary of chests in this game. Then there is a capturing mechanic. This can be changed exponentially by just making it so that you can fire gifts in battle. Just add an extra command to when you go to cannon. Seriously, it would help to catch the Digimon in battle. You would still just need to knock out 2 of the other Digimon, but then just make it so that we fire the toy plane or whatever we want to fire at the Digimon to give them gifts in order for them to join our team, and make it so that it increases the chance of them joining our team, and so that we don't have to knock them out. Like, we just send them the plane or something, and then they're just like, ooh, this is a nice gift. You know what? You're nice. I'm going to join your team. That should be how it should generally go. It shouldn't be you have to bribe the whole entire team with a bunch of toy planes and then have to knock everyone out in order to get the team that you want to build. Let's talk about the Digimon spawning mechanic and how that can be fixed. It's very simple. Make it so that after a certain amount of time, while your character is in the overworld and not in a battle, Digimon will spawn throughout the domain, and you can just go around and look. This makes grinding easier. This makes catching Digimon easier. It does so many things to help the game out and make it not so bad. And if you can't do that, you know what else you could do? You know, the world map that you have to go to select stuff from? Well, you can just get rid of that and make it its own little landscape. Have a ship with infinite stamina that goes around, and make this all random encounters. Seriously, if you even just replace this overworld mechanic of having overworld Digimon in there and just replace it with random encounter Digimon, it would make the game so much better. It would make it miles better. In my opinion, overworld models don't do that well in JRPGs like this most of the time. It just becomes too much of a hassle to grind for it all, and it's hard to just get certain Digimon to spawn in and such. And now then, let's talk about the Digivolution system, shall we? I don't have too much of a problem with it, to be honest, but you know what I would like is that there's another thing that I didn't mention in the Digivolution, is that when you DNA Digivolve Digimon, you get a DP increase, and depending on how much DP a certain Digimon has, they'll automatically digivolve to a different Digimon. If I want my Greymon to stay as a Metal Greymon when he digivolves, I will do that. But, however, if he goes up to DP 20 or higher, he'll become a Skull Greymon. In order to change him back into Metal Greymon, I need DP down chips, which I don't know how to purchase in this game, and I'm convinced the only way to get them in is to cheat them in. So just fixing that so it would be, hey, you're at this certain level of DP. Why don't we allow you to choose between one of these 2 evolutions? Would you like him to digivolve into Metal Greymon? Would you like to digivolve him into Skull Greymon? Take your pick, my friend. Take your time. We'll be waiting right here for you to get your answer done. Now then, let's talk about the rivals of the game. Seriously, I'm just disappointed with Brendan, if anything. I'm kind of just done with the smell you later, you're weaker than me type of people. Seriously, I want more people like Mark Schwartz. Mark Schwartz. How the hell do you pronounce his name? Seriously, give me this man as a rival. I want him as a rival. Why? He's laid back. He doesn't give a shit. But when it comes down to it, he will snap at you harder than a snapping turtle snapping on a snapping branch. Let's talk about the team that you picked in the beginning. You know, the thing that's supposed to seem so important to the story? Well, it's not. It only changes just like one boss. There is so much that could have been done here. Let me give you an example. In a certain point of the game, your team gets infected with a virus that turns everything into junk parts of whatever they find. If you were the Goldhawks member, you're the first one to get infected and thus start the epidemic. If you were a Blue Falcon member, you only hear about the virus because your leader's just like, hey, there's a virus going around, someone from the Goldhawks got infected, so now we have to check your Digimon and we're going to send you on an investigation. Or if you are a Black Sword, they're just like, we don't care that much, but just to be safe, we'll send you on this investigation and prove that you're at least better than the Goldhawks person. Like, there is so much that you could have done with this kind of team dynamic. You could have had different relationships, maybe with a fellow companion who was on the team that wasn't a rival. Maybe you could have made one of your quote-unquote rivals not a rival by having them on your team instead as a companion and someone who you regularly talked to for any sort of advice or something, or maybe for some hints. It would have been nice. And that's why, in the end of the day, I say that this game is bad, because ultimately, a choice that does seem quite important in the beginning really only affects one thing extremely late on in the story that you're just like, oh yeah, I forgot that existed. And then there is the mechanics that work against grinding in a RPG. I repeat, mechanics that work against grinding in an RPG and make everything extremely slow. Seriously, have you seen how long it takes to speedrun these games? Though, with that being said, I would still suggest you give this game a try, because even though it is bad, it can still be a lot of fun if you find a way to ignore it, or if you're not someone who minds the tedious things you do for grinding. Seriously, this game can be fun, and honestly, I still just love it mainly just out of pure nostalgia. So I would suggest trying it, but be warned, this is a bad game. But do find a way to try it. I don't care what you do. Go talk to your Uncle Joe, who probably has a PS1 in his basement somewhere, and who also has, conveniently, a copy of the game. Go talk to your friend who may have a copy of the game, and somehow you just magically stumbled upon a PS1 over a dead body. Who knows? Any opportunity you find, just give it a try. Hey guys, it's me, Ice, and before I sign out today, I just want to say thank you for watching the first episode of Game Garage. I hope there's more in the future. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this game if you played it before. Do you agree with some of the things that I've said? Do you disagree with some of the things I've said? Anything, just let me know in the comments below. Give this a like, give this a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next video.